I kind of tell the story of I'm Not Pretty in the song. It was 2 a.m. and one of my ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend accidentally liked one of my photos from 2016 in Panama City. It's still on my Instagram. You can go look for it. But yeah, I think I just took a situation that had happened and that I thought was like a little bit funny, and I turned it into a song, and it's lighthearted and not supposed to be too serious, but that's a funny one. So Lucky is the title track, and I wrote that with Casey Smith, Ben Williams, and Messy. I told Messy, our track guy, that I wanted a honky tonk song because I hadn't had one, and I also had the title You're Lucky I'm Drinking, or the idea, and basically the amount of times that, you know, if I was sober, I wouldn't have responded, but the tequila starts tasting like he didn't really treat me that bad. So I do respond. Yeah, that's happened a lot of times, and so I knew I needed to put it in a song because I know other people can relate to that. So Lucky's just a fun party song, and it's fun to dance to. Tennessee Orange is my version of a love song. I'm a Georgia girl, and I went to UGA, and the song is about how I moved to Tennessee, and you know that I'm willing to wear Tennessee Orange for someone, and the song has really changed my life, so it's very special to me. So Kansas Anymore, I actually thought of that idea when I was playing in the middle of nowhere at a casino in Kansas. I was just thinking about The Wizard of Oz, and I knew I had to write the next Monday with Rodney Clawson, Lori McKenna, and Luke Laird. And so I was just thinking, like, what are we gonna write? And I was thinking of The Wizard of Oz and how the whole thing is we're not in Kansas anymore. And then I was like, what if, like, Kansas was a metaphor for being in love, and then we hooked it to we're not in Kansas anymore. So Girl in the Mirror is probably my most honest, most vulnerable song. I wrote it with Matt Jenkins and Jessie Jo Dillon. I'd actually met Matt Jenkins at a writer's round, but I didn't know Jessie Jo, and we got in the room and just started talking about our past relationships and what we were going through. And we actually talked for 3 hours, but we wrote the song in 30 or 45 minutes. But I think that song has the most important message on the whole record. And I played Girl in the Mirror live for the first time. And you know, sometimes when I play a song out a lot, it's kind of muscle memory in my brain. And I'm not really thinking about the lyrics too much. And Girl in the Mirror, obviously I had to think about the words because I had never played it before. So I was like, really had to think about it. And it was just a moment where at the end of the last chorus, I started to cry. And I think that was just kind of because it's like, dang, I really wrote these lyrics and I'm really telling a room of people how I feel. And it was just very emotional. Another on the way is a song that I wrote with Casey Smith, Ben Williams, and Messy, the same group that wrote Lucky. And we just were in the mood to write another tempo, and we created this character, Miss Daisy, and Miss Daisy's kind of just giving me life advice at this bar, and the bridge in that song is actually one of my favorite parts of the whole record. So Traitor Joe is definitely a fun one. I came in with the idea, you're a Traitor Joe, because I naturally gravitate to the angry at men songs. But my co-writer, Ben Williams, was like, why don't we make it She's a Traitor Joe? And as soon as he made that switch, I immediately thought of like You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift, and we were just so excited to write it, and yeah, that's how that one came to be. So if I had to pick a favorite on the record, I would probably pick Why Johnny. It's a letter to June, and it's kind of just like wanting to sit down with June and ask her, how did you know Johnny Cash was eventually going to be writing you love letters every day? And I think it took us like 8 or 9 hours to write, because we were just trying to get it perfect, and my fingers were actually bleeding by the time we got done with the song. So Connor Matthews brought in the idea, why Johnny, but he was like, why Johnny, did you have to set the bar so high? And I was like, I'm down to write about Johnny and June, but I don't know enough about their relationship to do that. So let's dive in. And we were kind of looking up their relationship for like an hour and a half on the internet, and we actually found out, I didn't realize that they were married to 2 different people when they met, and Johnny Cash was an alcoholic, and they were just, had to work through some things to get to where they got to. So it's kind of just like a letter to June, like, how did you know that things were gonna change. And because everyone knows them as an iconic love story, which they eventually were, but it didn't happen overnight. So it's a letter to June. So I've always wanted to say that God is a Georgia Bulldogs fan, and so that's where I put it. I put it in God Plays a Gibson. This one was actually the most frustrating to write because I could not decide on a bridge. I had changed the second verse, and then I just couldn't decide on a bridge, and we ended up keeping the original bridge that I had written with Mackenzie Carpenter and Colin Healy. But yeah, this one's special because I kind of just talk about not trying to complicate God, and because that's kind of how I like to look at things, and I feel closer to him when I'm talking to him like a friend rather than any other way. Once again, I have made Georgia my whole personality, but this one was cool because I wanted a song that kind of talked about where I'm from and where I grew up, but it also has the bad bitch country in there because it's definitely a confident type of song. So I love this one for that reason, and it also is another song where I plug Georgia. So shout out to Georgia once again. Sleep on My Side is the funniest song on the record, I think. If you listen to it, I don't have to do too much explaining, but it's basically about how me and this guy that I tried to date, we were just too different and it was never gonna work out. And my favorite part about that song is that my friend Alex she laughs at the end of it. We're like talking to each other. She was in the studio that day, and I was like, come in here, let's talk and laugh, and we have her laugh in the end of that one. Mustang or Me is another song about my personal life, surprise. I drive my high school car, it's a 2010 Mustang, and I actually just wrecked it the other day, and I don't plan on getting it fixed. But I drive my Mustang, and it's basically about a breakup and going home. And I was really happy with how this one turned out because we made it the only piano song of the record, so I'm excited for everyone to hear it. So I wrote Sad Songs for Sad People with Ian Christian and Jordan Fletcher, and they were kind of asking me what the record was missing, and I told them, well, it doesn't have a love song because I don't write love songs. You know, sad songs make me comfortable. And that's how we landed on this one, because Sad Songs for Sad People is a love song. And it was my favorite to record in the studio because we got like the tracking in one take. Like once everybody had learned it, it just happened so quick and it was perfect. And it's funny because it actually almost didn't make the record. I almost gave it away because when we wrote it, I really liked the song, but I was like I said, guys, no love songs. It doesn't fit the brand. Really glad that it ended up on the record because I think it really ties everything together, and nothing like a love song on the last track.